The door of my quarters burst open before the alarm even finished its first note, and I was on my feet with a blade in my hand before I knew who had come. The man standing in the frame was not a threat. He was a wreck. His skin had the gray-blue tone of the Velkari race, his breathing ragged, his knees buckling like he had run across a battlefield instead of a hallway. I lowered the blade slowly, my heart still hammering. "Please," he said, his voice cracking. "Please, I need you to come with me." There is no time. I had not seen a Velkari this close in years, not since the war ended, not since the last time their kind and mine had looked at each other through gun sights instead of open doors. "Who are you?" I asked. "How did you find this place?" "My name is Torin Vale," he said. "I searched for 3 years. I bribed smugglers. I traded away half of what I owned. I am not here to hurt you. I am here because my daughter is dying, and her last wish, before she closes her eyes forever, is to see you." The words hit me harder than any blow I had taken in combat. I did not know this man. I did not know his daughter, and yet something in his broken voice told me this was not a trick. "Why me?" I asked. "I don't even know your daughter." "She knows you," he said. "She has known you since she was small enough to sit on my shoulders. You are the reason she is still breathing today, even for these final hours. Please, there is no time to explain everything here. Every second we spend talking is a second she does not have." I looked at the man's shaking hands, at the fear behind his eyes, and I made my decision before my mind had even finished doubting it. "Take me to her," I said. We ran. His ship was small, patched together with parts from 3 different manufacturers, held in the sky more by hope than by proper engineering. As soon as we lifted off, he pushed the engines harder than they were built for, and the whole vessel groaned like it might shake apart. "Slow down," I said. "If this thing breaks apart, neither of us reaches her." "If I slow down," he said, gripping the controls so tightly his knuckles turned pale, "she might not be alive when we land." I said nothing after that. I only watched the stars blur past the viewport, my mind racing through memories I had tried to bury. Years ago, during the final days of the war between our people, I had been given an order I refused to follow. A Velkari transport ship, filled with civilians, was drifting, disabled, directly in the path of an attack fleet. Command told me to let it burn. They said it was efficient. They said one fewer ship meant one fewer future enemy. I disobeyed. I flew my fighter into formation ahead of the transport, broadcasting a distress signal loud enough that the entire sector heard it, forcing every commander listening to make a choice between destroying innocents in full view of their own fleet or holding fire. They held fire. I was court-martialed for it later, but the ship survived. Every soul on it survived. I never learned their names. I never asked. I simply flew away when it was over, back into a war that did not care about the lives it swallowed. "That transport," I said suddenly, breaking the silence. "The one near the Kessa debris field, years ago, was your daughter on it?" Torin's eyes glistened. She was 3 years old. She remembers almost nothing from that day, except the sound of your voice on the comm, telling everyone to hold on, that help was coming. She has carried that voice with her every day since. I sat back, stunned. A single choice, made in seconds during the chaos of war, had somehow followed a child across the galaxy and settled into her heart as something worth remembering. "She built her whole life around finding out who you were," Torin continued. "She studied human languages. She read every record she could find about the war. When she finally learned your name, she made me promise that if anything ever happened to her, I would find you, no matter the cost." "What is wrong with her?" I asked. "A sickness in her blood," he said. "Something our doctors cannot stop. It has been eating away at her for 2 years. The best healers on our world have tried everything. Nothing works. She has perhaps a day left, maybe less." The ship shuddered as we entered a rough patch of space, asteroids scraping past the hull close enough to hear. Torin did not slow down. If anything, he pushed harder. "There," he said, pointing to a small moon ahead, its surface dotted with domes of soft blue light. "That is our medical colony. That is where she is." We landed hard, the ship skidding across the platform, and Torin was out the door before the engines had even finished powering down. I followed him through corridors filled with staring eyes. Velkari doctors and patients alike stopped and stared at me, whispering to each other, some with confusion, some with open hostility. "What is a human doing here?" one voice snapped from behind us. "Let him pass," Torin shouted without turning around. "He is here for my daughter." We reached a door guarded by two Velkari security officers, their expressions hard as stone. "Sir," one of them said to Torin, "bringing an outsider into a medical sanctuary during a family's final hours is against every custom we hold." "My daughter's final wish overrides your customs," Torin said, his voice suddenly steady, carrying the weight of a man who had nothing left to lose. "Step aside, or explain to her, and to me, why you refused a dying child's last request." The guards hesitated, then stepped aside. Inside, the room was quiet, except for the soft hum of medical equipment. A young Velkari girl lay on a bed, tubes running into her arms, her skin pale and thin, her chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. She could not have been older than 16 in human years. Torin rushed to her side. "Meera," he whispered. "Meera, I found him. He is here." Her eyes opened slowly, unfocused at first, drifting across the ceiling, before settling on me standing near the door. For a moment, nothing happened. I feared we were too late, that whatever spark had kept her holding on had already faded. Then her eyes widened, and she sat up. Not slowly, not with effort. She sat up straight, tubes pulling taut, machines beeping in confusion at the sudden movement, her frail arms pushing her upright with a strength that should not have been possible for someone in her condition. "It's you," she said, her voice trembling but clear. "You're real. You're actually real." I stepped closer, unsure what to say. "I'm here," I said softly. "Your father found me. He told me everything." Tears rolled down her cheeks, but she was smiling, a wide and genuine smile that seemed impossible on someone so weak. "I used to imagine your voice every night," she said. "When the pain got bad, I would remember the sound of you telling everyone to hold on. It made the fear go away. It made me believe someone out there cared, even if we were strangers, even if we were supposed to be enemies." "You were never my enemy," I said. "None of you ever were." That day, I saw children on that transport. I saw families. I couldn't let politics decide who deserved to live. "You saved my whole life," she said. "Not just that day. Every day after, every time I wanted to give up, I thought about the fact that a stranger risked everything for people he had never met. It made me want to be someone worth saving." The doctors rushed in behind us, alarmed by the sudden readings on their monitors, but Torin held up a hand, asking them to wait. They froze at the door, watching in stunned silence as Meera continued to sit upright, stronger than she had been in weeks. "I have an idea," I said suddenly, a memory surfacing from another life. "During the war, our medics developed a treatment for blood sicknesses, similar to what you're describing, something that combined human techniques with alien biology. It was experimental, and it was shelved after the war ended, because nobody wanted cooperation between our people anymore. But the research still exists. I know people who kept copies, scientists who never stopped believing peace was possible." Torin turned to me sharply. "You think it could help her?" "I don't know," I admitted, "but I know it's more than what she has right now, and I am not leaving this room until we have exhausted every option, even ones that were buried out of stubbornness and old hatred." One of the doctors stepped forward hesitantly. "If such research exists, and if it is compatible with her condition, we would need access immediately. Every hour matters." "Then let's not waste another minute," I said, already pulling out my communicator. I still have contacts who owe me favors from the war. It's time I called them in. Meera reached out and took my hand, her grip weaker than I expected but full of determination. "Whatever happens," she said, "thank you for coming. Thank you for choosing to be kind when kindness cost you everything." "I would do it again," I said, meaning every word. "I would do it 1,000 times over." Torrin stood at the foot of the bed, watching his daughter sit upright, alive and fighting, her spirit refusing to bow to the sickness trying to claim her. For the first time since I had met him, he looked like a man who believed hope was still possible. Outside the window, the twin suns of the colony began to rise over the horizon, painting the sky in gentle colors of gold and soft blue. It was not a promise that everything would be fine. It was not a guarantee that the treatment would work, or that Meera would survive the days ahead. But in that room, surrounded by doctors preparing to fight for her life, surrounded by a father who had crossed the galaxy out of love, and surrounded by a stranger who had once made a choice to see people instead of enemies, there was something powerful in the air. There was hope. Real, stubborn, unshakable hope. And sometimes, that is enough to change everything.